So in this video, we are to look at the Workers' Compensation Act. And this video specifically is going to cover the definition and brief overview about the Workers' Compensation Act. And still we shall talk about the roles and the aims of this Workers' Compensation Act. Here we are going to talk about now the definition of the Workers' Compensation Act. And here we are saying is a mechanism of paying workers for damages, diseases, or injuries incurred in the course of employment. Workers' Compensation Act, which was put there in 2000, we are saying is a mechanism of paying workers for damages, diseases, and injuries incurred in the course of employment. If you get injured while at work, there is a mechanism for catering for your losses, for your injuries, which you call the Workers' Compensation Act. And this is some of the brief overview. We are saying the Workers' Compensation Act establishes that where a worker is injured during the course of employment, the employer has liability for such injuries. It gives employees freedom to be compensated in case they incur injury during the course of work. And here is some of the brief overviews of this Workers' Compensation Act. This is the discussion that is in the Constitution of Uganda, Chapter 225 in the Ugandan Constitution. It has been put to favor all employees despite the work they do. And still we talk about the recent studies where we talk about the NGOs trying to see that many of Ugandans get accidents or suffer injuries as a result of the work they do. Some get cuts, others fall from buildings, others get electric shock, others are being hit by objects, and others suffer diseases. Since many of the Ugandans are having this problem, now the labor action had to institute the Workers' Compensation Act to see that these Ugandans can be compensated or can be taken care of after they have incurred the injury. The Workers' Compensation Act commenced or started on 15th of September in the year 2000, and it states that an employer is entitled to compensation of any personal injury from an accident arising in the course of carrying out his or her work. Every employee is entitled to compensation of any personal injury from an accident which had to arise in the course of carrying his or her work. And we have like these individuals, this one has fallen, the other one got stuck by an object, electrical shock. You see this one is caught in between an object. These are the injuries that people were getting, and it necessitates the commencement of the Workers' Compensation Act. You can see these individuals still also having issues, problems. You see this one has fallen, has gotten injured because of during the course of employment. The same to this other one, has fallen down, is injured, the same case. And since this has become rampant, or it became rampant, there was the reason now to bring in the Workers' Compensation Act to see that these individuals can be taken care of. So according to the Compensation Act, according to this Workers' Compensation Act, we are saying compensation is paid according to one's total monthly earnings and the percentage of incapacity given by the doctor. So this act stipulated that the compensation of an individual will always depend on total monthly earnings of an individual and also the incapacity that is awarded by the medical doctor. So there are three elements in this Workers' Compensation Act, and one of them is accident, there is injury and benefits. So it talks about accidents, injuries, and benefits. And we are saying it applies to all employments within Uganda, with exception of active members of the armed forces of Uganda. So this Workers' Compensation Act is for all employments in Uganda, but leaving out the armed forces of Uganda. We have said all three elements: accident, injury, and benefits. So more of the overview are saying the act defines workers as who is a worker according to the Workers' Compensation Act. It says any person who performs service in exchange of remuneration, this is money, other than a person who performs service as an independent contractor. So it looks at a worker as a person who has gotten a job and is given money in exchange of his efforts than a person who works his own works, like is self-employed. So if you are self-employed, it doesn't cater for you because the employer is the one supposed to pay all the incurred injuries. So you are saying the cost of employment according to the act covers acts undertaken by the worker to protect any person on the employer premises who the person believes to be injured. So what does the Workers' Compensation Act cover? We are saying it is covering any worker who has been performing his job during the employer premises and gotten injured. And still, it talks about acts where workers are injured while protecting property of the employer premise. If you are protecting the property of your employer and you happen to get injured, then the act covers you. You need to be compensated. Still, we are talking about any person injured by accident arising while the employee is traveling directly to or from his or her workplace for purpose of employment. If you are traveling away from the workplace or you are traveling to the workplace and you happen to get injured, still the Workers' Compensation Act has to cater for your injuries. However, we are saying employees who suffer injury by accident arising while traveling to and from his workplace, we are saying they are supposed to show that such a travel was directly related to the work. So we have just looked at a brief overview of the Workers' Compensation Act, and we are saying that where the employer fails to comply without reasonable cause, commits an offense, and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 Ugandan money. So meaning that if the employer fails to compensate, is supposed to pay because has committed an offense. Aims of the Workers' Compensation Act: to provide comprehensive coverage to workers for work-related injuries and disability. Then you talk about provide workmen with sustainable life after suffering any injury at workplace during the course of employment. And those are the two aims of the Workers' Compensation Act. So we are going to end with the roles of the Workers' Compensation Act. One, we are saying is a form of insurance payment of employees if they are injured at work or become sick during the course of work. So Workers' Compensation Act include payments to employees to cover the following. One, wages while they are not fit for the work, the medical expenses, and rehabilitation. Thank you for listening. That has been the brief overview of the Workers' Compensation Act, where we have looked at its definition, we have stated the act, we have stated the roles of the Workers' Compensation Act. Thank you for listening. Share the video or find the video on YouTube and share with a colleague.